Morning. We're in the fifth Sunday of Easter. From the Acts of the Apostles. After Paul and Barnabas had proclaimed the good news to that city, made a considerable number of disciples, they returned to Lystra and to Iconium and to Antioch. They strengthened the spirits of the disciples and exhorted them to persevere in the faith, saying, "It is necessary for us to undergo many hardships to enter the kingdom of God." They appointed elders for them in each church, and with prayer and fasting commended them to the Lord, in whom they had put their faith. Then they traveled through Pisidia and reached Pamphylia. After proclaiming the word at Perga, they went down to Attalia. From there they sailed to Antioch, where they had been commended to the grace of God for the work they had now accomplished. When they arrived, they called the church together and reported what God had done with them, and how he had opened the door of faith to the Gentiles. The word of the Lord. A reading from the book of Revelation. Then I, John, saw a new heaven and a new earth. The former heaven and the former earth had passed away, and the sea was no more. I also saw the holy city, a new Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, "Behold, God's dwelling is with the human race. He will dwell with them, and they will be his people, and God himself will always be with them as their God. He will wipe every tear from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, or mourning, wailing, or pain, for the old order has passed away." The one who sat on the throne said, "Behold, I make all things new." The word of the Lord. The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to John. When Judas had left them, Jesus said, "Now is the Son of Man glorified, and God is glorified in him. If God is glorified in him, God will also glorify him in himself, and God will glorify him at once. My children, I will be with you only a little while longer. I give you a new commandment. Love one another. As I have loved you, so you also should love one another. This is how all will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another." The Gospel of the Lord. 2004, country superstar Tim McGraw wrote a song entitled "Live Like You Were Dying." The song's lyrics included things like, "In my early 40s, with a lot of life before me, and a moment came that stopped me on a dime. I spent most of my next days looking at the x-rays and talking about the options. I went skydiving, Rocky Mountain climbing. I loved deeper and spoke sweeter and gave forgiveness I've been denying. Was finally a husband, though most of the time I wasn't. Became a friend would like to have. Suddenly going fishing wasn't such an imposition. Finally reading the good book, and took a good hard look at what I'd do if I could do it all again." It was written for his father, Tug McGraw, who was a pitcher for teams like the New York Mets. Good pitcher, I remember him, when he found out that he hadn't long to live. John's Gospel had many scenes from the Last Supper, including today's reading. Judas left to betray Jesus. He knew that the next day he would die. He took what time he had to give a final lesson to his disciples by washing their feet and teaching them the need to care for, to love, and to serve others. As created by God, every human being is deserving of respect, honor, and love. McGraw's title is key to today's theme. How would we live if we knew we were dying? How would we treat others? What forgiveness would we bestow on those who have hurt us? And what forgiveness would we ask from those we have hurt? How would we be toward others as a father, husband, wife, mother, friend? Man goes for his annual checkup. The nurse asks him, "How much do you weigh?" Man says, 155. She puts him on the scale. "You weigh 210. She says to him, how tall are you? He says 6'1". She measures him. You're 5'7". So let me take your blood pressure. The nurse says, your blood pressure is high. The man says, what do you expect? I came in here tall and lean. I'm leaving short and fat. Have a good week, everyone. God bless.